Now we're going to be looking at some application problems, and these are some even problems out of your textbook. And I chose these because they're similar to problems that you're going to be responsible for. So the first problem we have is problem 12. It says a company manufactures and sells X digital cameras per week. Weekly price, demand, and cost equations are respectively P equals 400 minus 0.4x, and my cost equation is 2000 plus 160x. It says what price should the company charge for the cameras? How many cameras should be produced to maximize the weekly revenue? And what is the maximum revenue? So there's three questions technically that I've got here. Now, it wants to know the price the company charges for the cameras and how many cameras should be produced to maximize weekly revenue. So it's revolving around revenue, and you need to remember that your revenue function is X, which is number of units, times price per unit, which is your price demand equation. So I'm going to substitute this 400 minus 0.4x with parentheses in for P to find my revenue function. So that's the first thing I did, and I distributed x through. So I've got my revenue function. Now if you remember, this is a parabola. It is concave down. So if it's concave down, then I know I'm going to get or find my maximum. Well, the quickest way to do it though is to go ahead and find your derivative. So let's go find r prime. And like we have been doing, set that equal to 0. If you set it equal to 0, you're going to be able to find where your tangent line is 0, where you got possible max min, in this case a maximum. So let me move this down. So I've got r prime equal to 0. So I move the 0.8 over, divide both sides by 0.8, and I came up with x equals 500. Okay, now this, if you remember, we're working with the revenue. X is number of cameras, so this is going to answer this part. How many cameras should be produced to maximize the weekly revenue? So it needs to be 500. Now the next couple of questions, I've got to know where I need to go to put this information. So to find my maximum revenue, well, I need to put that into my original revenue function. So let's see if that's what I did here. Store the 500 and type in 400x minus 0.4x squared. So they would realize a maximum revenue of 100,000 when 500 cameras are sold. Okay, so we've answered this question here about the how many. We answered maximum revenue, but now the first question was what price should the company charge? Well, guys, price is referring to the price equation right here, and if you'll notice, there's my x. So if you put the 500 back in here, that should tell me how much I should charge per camera to realize that maximum revenue. Okay, now the next part is what is the maximum weekly profit? How much should the company charge for the cameras, and how many cameras should be produced to realize this maximum weekly profit? Sounds similar to the one I had before, but this one is with respect to profit, and you've got to remember this. Profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So I need to get my revenue that I've got here. The cost function, remember I need to subtract that, and it needs to be in parentheses. And let's see if I did that. Okay, distribute the negative through. I'll just go ahead and move this. And combine like terms. I put it in descending order because I just think it's easier to work with. Alright, so next thing I need to do, well actually first, notice this is a parabola concave down, so whatever my x value is, it will lead to a maximum for this particular expression. So go get your derivative. That would be p prime of x would equal negative 0.8x plus 240. And like before, let's go set it equal to 0. So there's that. I move the 240 this time. Divide both sides by that negative 0.8. So in this one, x would be 300. Now to answer the questions, how many cameras should be produced to realize the maximum weekly profit? 300 cameras. How much should the company charge for the cameras? Well, charge for the cameras. This goes back to your price demand equation. You need to put 300 in for x. And the other one, what is the maximum weekly profit? Well, I need to put my 300 in to my x value for my profit. So let's see what I did first. Company should produce 300 cameras per week to make a maximum profit of $34,000, and they should sell the cameras for $280. Different from the other one, but the thing is, I would really prefer to see this type of problem because you know, if you're making something, you really need to take into consideration your cost. But the problems that they ask is, you need to make sure you answer what they ask. Okay? So that's it for this particular one. I'm going to do some other videos to do the other ones, so it won't be a humongous long video. So try some of the problems that's similar to this one in your homework. Okay? Talk to you later.